The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.
Let us now proceed with green bonds. Last week, the panel discussion was held in Tbilisi Marriott regarding the issuance of 80 million USD worth of green bonds by the Georgia Renewable Power Operations, a company owned by the largest Georgian private equity firm LSE-listed Georgia Capital. Our reporter, Georgy Aronia, attended the event and talked to the representatives of international financial institutions, large Georgian corporations, and the public sector about the bonds, renewable energy, and the investment climate.
Last week, the representatives of international financial institutions, large Georgian corporations and public sector gathered in Tbilisi for a panel discussion about the issuance of the 80 million USD worth of green bonds by the Georgia Renewable Power Operations, a company owned by the largest Georgian private equity firm, LSE-listed Georgia Capital. The bonds in question have been issued by the Georgia Renewable Power Operations, GRPO. The company owns and operates 4 hydropower plants and the only wind farm in Georgia. These 5-year green secured notes have been issued to the Georgian Stock Exchange in what is the first domestically listed green bond and the largest bond to be listed on the Georgian Stock Exchange ever. The notes are USD denominated with 5-year bullet maturity and carry a 7% coupon. The bonds were issued and sold at par value. Among the topics Business Media Georgia discussed with the representatives of international financial institutions was the importance of the green aspect of the bonds.
The green aspect is important for all of us. It's for all of our survival. EBRD is very keen on financing as much green as possible. We have internal targets for that, which in Georgia, it's quite easy to meet those targets and we very often exceed them. So the green is of key importance also for the attraction of the market.
It is important to see large-scale green bond emissions. We have seen this tendency for a long time now as the green economy is important for the world. Earlier, the benefits of such emissions were not evident to the Georgian companies, but for the last several years, Georgia has been developing in this direction. There are 2 Eurobond emissions, one by GGU and other by the Georgian Railway. We understood that investors are more interested in Georgian bonds rather than classic bonds. This is the first emission on the Georgian market that donor organizations and other investors are very interested in. At the same time, this is the first emission in Caucasus, which showed that a green economy is of crucial importance. We think that this emission will serve as an example for other companies.
Georgia has excellent resources, hydro resources. Wind particularly is fabulous in that it's complementary. When it's not raining, the wind is blowing, really gives Georgia an opportunity to address its energy needs, minimize the imports, which are increasingly expensive and complicated at this point in time with geopolitical impacts in the region, and lets it use domestic resources and offer affordable energy to the end users.
The issuance of 80 million USD worth of green bonds by Georgia Renewable Power Operations is crucial for several reasons. Firstly, because it is the largest issuance on the local market with an unprecedentedly low price for the region. Additionally, these bonds are green. If you pay attention to global trends, you will see that the market capitalization of green bonds amounts to trillions of US dollars. The transfer of this Western tendency to Georgia is important too. It reflects that GRPO and the country as a whole are determined to the long-term sustainable development.
80 million USD green secured bond offering on the Georgian Stock Exchange is crucial not only for the development of the local capital market, but for the improvement of the investment climate in the country. We shall not forget that a huge part of these bonds was purchased by global financial institutions.
The investment climate in Georgia right now is unfortunately impacted by things that goes on around us over which we have no control. Many investors here are very happy with what's happening. Any country can always improve. So there are, of course, things that need to be done to continue the reform agenda, and we are very happy to support it, partly through our work through the Investors Council.
I think that the country has done a phenomenal number of reforms that makes it an attractive location. It's continuing to recognize where additional reforms are needed and where things need to be strengthened to give private sector confidence and comfort. So overall, I would rate it as relative to many other countries in the region, a very stable, interesting, and attractive place for private sector investors, particularly when there's stable regulatory frameworks and legal arrangements that provide predictability.
The involvement of international financial institutions is crucial for Georgia's development. Ever since gaining back the independence, the IFIs invested billions of dollars into Georgian development. Business Media Georgia had the opportunity to ask the representatives of international financial institutions and large Georgian corporations about their future projects.
We would like to continue to support renewable energy development, diversification of renewable energy, but we also support infrastructure and corporates, both local and international investors, and financial sector sustainability.
We are celebrating the first issuance of green bonds worth $80 million on the Georgian market by Georgia Renewable Power Operations aimed at the development of the energy sector. This is a very important deal for Georgia, as it plays an important role in the development of the energy market and attracting additional investments. Additionally, we should mention the interest shown by the international financial institutions which participated in the deal. Their interest, of course, was sparked by the green aspect of the bond. I would like to congratulate Georgia Renewable Power Operations, its parent company, Georgia Capital, and the whole country with the great achievement.
Definitely more renewable energy, hoping to support wind, as I mentioned, hopefully solar PV as well. Selectively, we would look at hydro, recognizing that it is a dominant source in the market and an important source of clean energy. Moving away from energy, and because I cover infrastructure, also interested in looking at transport, logistics opportunities, the port sector, potentially private rail, anything that's led by the private sector, recognizing again the geopolitical situation in the country, the middle corridor opportunities, and the important location that Georgia has and its ability to really be an important player, both for domestic companies as well as regionally.
The issuance of the $80 million worth of green bonds by the Georgia Renewable Power Operations, which the company issued together with Tbilisi Capital and Galton Taggart, is an important step for Georgia. As experts say, it will set a precedent for other companies to follow the suit.
The Checkpoint is presented by GM Pharma, the first international multinational pharmaceutical company in Georgia. GM Pharma, to serve those who need it most.